Hi, JP Fournier of the Movie Jerks here again, and we're going to do some more random reviews.
La 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 la, Movie Jerks!
During the month of August, I am moving out, therefore all my films are going to be packaged away so I can move them. But before I do that, I am picking the 4 random movies that I'm going to be watching. Again, we got the spool here of over 3,000 some films I've never seen before. We're going to give it a good spin, press the poster button, and these are the 4 films I am watching this week. Legend of the Naked Ghost. Of course. Stepdogs. All leashes are off. The Windwalker. Well, that's somewhat improving, I suppose. And Things. Okay. Wait. Oh, no. Okay, I don't think that's the Canadian Things, thankfully. Legend of the Naked Ghost. Contrary to my first assumptions, Legend of the Naked Ghost is not a porno. No, it's the R-rated, edited-down version of a pornographic film called Scared Topless. Both films are directed by Jim Wynorski, the director of such cult hits like Chopping Mall, Deathstalker 2, and The Return of Swamp Thing. And he's also responsible for films such as House on Hooter Hill, The Blair Witch Project, The Witches of Brestwick, and The Devil Wears Nada. The movie begins with an animated feature that shows eggs battling in war. It's not very interesting, entertaining, or even a finished product. The actual feature begins with 3 minutes viewing a lady washing a car, followed by an introduction to our protagonist professor and his wacky gang of students as they set up the premise for why they are traveling to a haunted house. At the house, they meet up with this couple of thespians.
Are they in there?
I believe so.
Do you think they'll make contact?
From what that couple told me last night, they've got a really good chance.
I wonder if watching a lot of pornography would cause conditioned responses of becoming horny every time someone sees bad acting.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to watch a lot more pornography to find out if my hypothesis is true. Legend of the Naked Ghost ends within 45 minutes, counting the cartoon. Then what follows is another 30 minutes of that same lady from the beginning washing a car. That's right, this film has an hour and 20-minute runtime, and nearly half of it is watching a lady wash a car. Stepdogs. Okay, here's the story. A famous actress, Sabrina Eastman, gives up her fame and career to wed a retired stuntman living in Saskatchewan. She takes along her self-centered niece, Lacey, who Sabrina has become the sole guardian after the death of Lacey's parents. Lacey has a dog named Casey. Rick the stuntman has a son, Josh, a quiet introvert who is still mourning the death of his mother. Josh has a dog named Meatball. The two newlyweds are going on a honeymoon and leaving the 2 oddball-esque kids behind with a babysitter, but not before storing Sabrina's family diamond in Rick's excessively large house safe. And that's not a euphemism.
Wow, you don't mess around, do you?
While the 2 dogs mix words, and yes, this is a talking dog film.
That dog is sleeping in the garage tonight.
I think you're sniffing up the wrong... Oh!
The 2 kids also find themselves at odds with each other. And on top of this, Sabrina's former assistant, Terrence, is seeking revenge on Sabrina's early retirement, which caused him to become unemployed.
Isn't it true that since she's taken a break from movie work, that you're out of a job?
And he decides, with the help of his bumbling partner in crime, Louie, to steal her inexplicably large diamond. Since the 2 kids cannot get along, they end up getting in more trouble than anticipated, causing them to be away from the house. This forces the 2 dogs to start protecting the house, a la Home Alone style with booby traps. And yes, this is a dog booby-trapping house to protect it from burglars film. And that is a subgenre that exists. The film takes its time getting into the Home Alone knockoff portion, or at least it felt like it took a long time because most of the scenes prior to that are embarrassingly unfunny or time spent just watching two kids bicker. For the first 30 minutes of this film, I hated it. And it wasn't until the introduction of Louis, played hilariously by comedian Ryan Belleville, that I started to enjoy it. His goofiness, combined with Terrence, actor Joris Jarxie, who's essentially playing the counter-straight man, has great timing. And they offer some off-the-cuff dialogue that can be fun.
Help! I'm a lumberjack!
You know what? If you're looking for a kids' film this holiday season, you could do much worse than Step Dogs. The Windwalker. I watched this flick at the beginning of August. After that, my building had a fire and I had to move out, not knowing for a week if I had lost everything. It was one of the worst vacations I have ever taken. However, the silver lining in this event was that I had forgotten everything I had just watched in The Windwalker. So I watched it a second time and forgot about it the next day. So I watched it a third time, and this time I took notes to find out why this was so unmemorable. This is another film that gives Eric Roberts top billing, even though he is hardly in the film. The film itself is about a popular author who's hesitant about finishing his father's last book before his father disappeared. The first part of this film is having to watch our protagonist struggle with wanting to do the only thing that this film is setting up, finding out about his father. He is given a film crew by his publisher Eric Roberts, because Eric Roberts doesn't realize how this author has no charisma. The reason why this film is unmemorable is because it doesn't know what it's supposed to be. The premise takes 30 minutes to explain, and then the next 30 minutes are spent on our author/protagonist accepting the premise, and followed by an ending of 20 minutes of hard-on-the-eyes, lousy special effects. The only information being set up is for this author to find out about his father's disappearance. It's essentially a hero's journey that takes too long to get to the journey. If this was Star Wars: A New Hope, this film would have had Luke Skywalker finding out about Princess Leia needing rescuing, and then spend the next 30 minutes watching him contemplate or even wonder if he was interested enough to leave the farm and set off on an adventure. George Lucas knew how boring that might be, so he murdered Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. This shocking moment sets our hero into gear, giving him emotional push as well as building up suspense by showing us how frightening the stakes are. The one thing the Windwalker did well is being unmemorable. Things, 1993. So where do I start off with Things? Well, I am thankful this wasn't the infamous Things from Canada. However, it is not too much of an improvement when it comes to budget. The film resembles one of those films that came out back in the early 80s when cheap filmmakers were filming directly onto VHS tapes. This is an anthology of 2 stories plus a wraparound story. The first thing I can say is that the acting is bad. Really bad. So bad, I became a little excited. You see, there's 2 types of bad acting. There's acting that lacks energy and feels uninspired. And then there's acting that is so bizarre, it doesn't resemble anything human.
Don't you understand me? I want to help you. We can help each other.
Things offers a lot of bizarre acting.
You remember that? No matter how much respect they command, no matter how many memorials or schools they build in their names, they all have blood on their hands.
The first story is about prostitutes being tormented by a man with a special box. The second story is about a lady who has dreams about being murdered by her spouse. And the wraparound story is about a wife taking revenge on her husband's mistress.
Just tell me your name.
Why would I do that?
Because I have a loaded gun.
Jane Lawson, please don't shoot. No.
Lawson,
Is that with no one or an EN?
The saving factor in Things are that all these stories have original and interesting concepts. Sure, the film has poor lighting, real strange choices throughout, and it's sleazy as all sin, but the stories do make sense. And it also doesn't overstay its welcome. I also found out that it has 3 sequels, so I can see what's coming in my future. And there you go, another quartet of random film reviews. If you have seen any of these 4 films, feel free to make some comments in the comment section. And if you like this video, please subscribe to The Movie Jerks for upcoming random reviews. For more information about The Movie Jerks, you can go to www.themoviejerks.ca.